Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in this one, we're going to be debuting everything that Elemental Shaman has to offer you so far in the War Within. I've been absolutely loving my Elemental Shaman on Dragonflight, so I'm really looking to see how they're going to be enhancing that flavor of play moving into the next expansion. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. So as it stands right now, we do have two hero talents available. We have the Seer and we have the Stormbringer. Now I'm currently going to be debuting the Seer to you, and what the Seer basically is it's going to be summoning in these little ancestors as you attack, which are just little mirror images of yourself that will also mirror some of your abilities. So you can see this little mirrored image Seer. He's casting Elemental Blast, he's casting Lava Burst, and you can kind of proc those in as you're going through your rotation. Sometimes if you get Ascendance proc like this, you're going to be able to summon in a huge amount of them all at once. So right now I've got two of them going crazy. I've seen probably upwards of like 3 of them at any one given time. Unfortunately, it kind of just feels like an extra mastery proc, like if instead of procking like an extra 4th lava burst, you proc this mirror image that just casts an extra lava burst. Now this is going to be really powerful, but it doesn't feel new. It just feels like an already existing mechanic layered on. Albeit it is a very fun mechanic like this, when you just proc a bunch of lava bursts and you just absolutely summon in an army of little ancestors. I just got 4. I've never seen 4. I just have the elite 4 of ancestors right now. And when you call in all these little bad boys and they just start lobbing out spells, it can feel really fun. The other additional spell is that you're going to be getting Ancestral Swiftness as Elemental, which is a 45-second cooldown. Your next damaging or healing spell will deal 10% more and be instant, obviously. And if you know Nature Swiftness, this will replace it. Now, the only problem is that it kind of makes me feel like if you're going to play Seer, then you're probably going to want to play Elemental Blast, just because, an instant cast Elemental Blast, it sounds really nice to be able to just lob that out whenever you want. So it's likely that this build is going to be a little bit more tailored, I think, towards the current kind of like fire elemental cooldown reduction build, maybe with the addition of an Elemental Blast. And I can just show you that really quickly, what that would look like. So you're gonna be able to lob out one of these bad boys, instant cast, and it's going to be really powerful, I think, in a lot of situations, and really fun in those situations. So we'll just get our Maelstrom up because we need that. It replaces our Earthshock. So we got our Maelstrom up here, and now you can see I can use Ancestral Swiftness, Ele Blast, and I can just get an instant 300k pop like that every 45 seconds. So this build is going to kind of, I think, pigeonhole you into probably one specific build, which is pretty much the build that you're playing from Dragonflight at the moment, at least if you're running the cooldown reduction on your fire elemental and this lava burst proccing build. Is that this is basically just making that existing build even more powerful than it already was. You can see here that you can extend your Spirit Walker's Grace, although it's probably not as big of a deal in PvP, but in PvE, being able to extend your ability to move while cast is definitely going to be very desirable. You also have defensive-oriented ones where your Earth Shield has 3 more charges and will heal you for 25% more, or you can get your Nature's Guardian a little bit faster. So you're going to be getting some nice defensive benefits, as well as being able to call in basically this extra ghost version of a Lava Burst proc with this. So my expectation is that this will be a very powerful talent tree, but I was kind of hoping that there'd be a little bit of a twist on it. It feels a little bit just more of the same for what Shaman already had. Now, the Stormbringer, this is one that's focusing down on a lightning fantasy. This one is going to give you Tempest, which means every 400 Maelstrom that you cast is going to replace Lightning Bolt with Tempest, which is going to give you a whole bunch of instant cast chain lightnings. They're bringing back Lightning Rod, and Lightning Shaman, at least for Elemental, has not really been like uber competitive. I feel like it's been mostly about Lava Burst and like Earthquake. The lightning element of the class has never really taken off, unfortunately, but this one's going to focus on around just likely spamming lightning spells, getting really big AoE. It's likely going to be really strong in dungeon situations, getting the proc Stormkeeper for more instant lightning spells, and then we're just going to focus on spending Maelstrom so that we can eventually get to our point where we can actually use the new Tempest ability and show you guys what that looks like exactly. We can load up a Stormkeeper really quick. So we got our Tempest here. So what's going to happen when we cast Tempest is it's going to make our next 3 chain lightnings instant cast, so we can just zap everything, just bzz, 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 bzz. It's the goal of this build, obviously, is to make lightning spells feel more powerful, and as long as they hit the tuning on it, I think that is likely going to be achievable. But This will be more like a battleground spec, I think a Mythic Plus spec, especially because it feels like it's probably going to, cater around spamming a lot of Chain Lightnings, which is not going to probably be super good for single target as opposed to the other build that I just showed you, which is just going to be good for single target. So Tempest into 3 instant Chain Lightnings, and then we can just go back to the normal rotation. You can see I already have another Tempest from that little zap of Chain Lightnings and Earthshock dump that I just did. So you can get a lot of instant cast Chain Lightnings. The main problem, at least for this in like a PvP environment, is going to be that you have to cast the Tempest. So if you had Ancestral Swiftness from the other talent tree on this build and you didn't have to cast the Tempest, I could see it being really strong in a PvP situation. But because you have to hard cast the Tempest if you're getting trained, it's going to feel super risky, I think, in a lot of those situations in order to be able to do that. But in PvE, the duplication, the lightning rod, the extra damage, bouncing your lightning bolts around is very visually satisfying. I think it's going to be super fun in dungeon situations, which does unfortunately mean that, the spec is kind of pigeonholed into just one environment, really. With this, we can look a little bit deeper into it. You're going to get some movement speed reductions, which is not super big when you already have Frost Shock, and you're already kind of going through that with Ice Fury pretty much. The 50-second Stormkeeper is nice. You could actually probably just save. Let me see, actually, does Stormkeeper interact with Tempest? Because if it doesn't interact with Tempest, then... If it interacts with Tempest, then we're going to be taking back everything that I just said for the last 20 seconds. So let's see if it does or not. We'll just spend a little bit of Maelstrom here, and we can see, because this is really important. If you can use Stormkeeper to make Tempest instant cast, you can maybe like sneak away and go get a Stormkeeper off in a little hidden corner and then get an instant Tempest. It could be very beneficial. So... we're just going to get up here. Oh my god, why is this taking so long to spend all the Maelstrom that I need to spend it? Okay, yeah, sometimes I was saying, like, this build feels crazy. I just got 2 Tempests in a row, and now I'm getting none. Okay, so Stormkeeper, Tempest is not instant cast. So, I mean, maybe they could add that. That would be an improvement. Make Stormkeeper also apply to Tempest so that you can actually get these spells out. Because, again, the main problem with the other build compared to this is that the other build, you're just instant casting most of the time, right? Now you can even instant cast your Ellie Blast with the Swiftness ability. Whereas this one, you got to be able to get the Tempest off successfully. And it is quite a long cast. It looks like it's uninterruptible at the moment. At least it's got that little grayed out bar, but I've seen that on a couple spells. I don't know if that's a bug or not. If they actually just hardcore make it uninterruptible, that is also another way to get around this. So that is entirely possible to take into consideration, because at the moment it does show that bar. Now I'm trying to get it again so we can see it again. So yeah, it looks like it's grayed out. Like if I cast a Lava Burst, right, you see how it's like got a yellowness, and then this is hollowed out. Makes me think that it actually is uninterruptible. If it is uninterruptible, then yeah, we're going to get around that problem really easily, I think, in order to make this a little bit more PvP viable compared to the other one. It's going to be really tough to decide, I think. But Farseer, the defensive benefit, I think, more than anything, is going to lean it more towards PvP. And the ability to like instant cast Ellie Blast, and it's already really amplifying an existing build of Elemental to where it's probably going to be super potent. Whereas Stormbringer is focusing on a lot of spells that are typically not used. So depending on the tuning, we may or may not see more of this. But in dungeon environments, I'm thinking this one's going to be super fun with Lightning Rod and Chain Lightning. So my hope is that moving through the alpha, they can maybe find a balance, get both the builds a little bit more compelling for every environment in the game, maybe add more, valuable defensive-oriented stuff for Stormbringer, much like the Earth Shield or the Nature's Guardian for the Farseer onto this side. Consider making Tempest actually uninterruptible, or something, like put it in the tooltip. It could be like one of the few spells in the game that's actually uninterruptible or something like that, and add some defense. I'm not a big fan of this 50% movement speed reduction on Enhance or Elemental. I just feel like they both don't really need it, that like procced slow like that, and they could use something else. I feel like I don't see this movement speed being super attractive or compelling fantasy wise, so I kind of like this completely replaced with something else, but other than that, Farseer is amplifying gameplay that I already really liked. Stormbringer, this is an experimentation, so I'm imagining that this is going to evolve, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so we can see how it progresses. But I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive of Elemental and my little experimentations in the laboratory. But other than that, thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.